Okay, hi there. I'm Peter Alsop. For today's Songs to Chew podcast, we'll check out one of my top-rated sing-alongs, Chickens for Peace. It was first released on my Take Me With You album. It was also on my Fan Club Favorites album, and it was part of Pie in the Sky, an anti-nuclear musical play I wrote with my wife, Ellen Geer. And of course, you are invited to sing with us, especially if you know the words. And if you don't know the words, well, then just cluck along with the rest of us chickens. So here for your listening, singing, and clucking pleasure is Chickens for Peace.
Chickens for peace, we're chickens for peace, and we don't want to fry. Chickens for peace, we're chickens for peace. One little war, and we're chicken pot pie. Chickens for peace, we're chickens for peace, and no one respects a chicken who begs. Chickens for peace, we're chickens for peace. One little slip, and we're hard-boiled eggs. Chickens for peace, we're chickens for peace, but we're not chickens. We're taking a stand. Chickens for peace, we're chickens for peace, and our chicken spirit is sweeping the land. The doves and the hawks are still fighting. The swans and the ducks are all wet. But us chickens have all been united. And what chickens want, chickens get. We're chickens for peace, we're chickens for peace, and we will win. We're not turkeys or geese. We're chickens for peace, we're chickens for peace. Hold up your geese and join in. 'Cause those dogs make hot water that will make chicken soup from the grease. All us chickens for peace. Chickens for peace. Chickens for
That was Michelle Browerman on piano and synthesizer. Norm Roper played drums, Peter Spellman on bass, my old friend and neighbor Fred Tackett, the guitarist for Little Feat, on lead guitars. And Shelby Flint and Miriam Cutler sang background vocals and clucked, along with my kids, and a slew of other Topanga children and friends who sang and crowed along too. I also want to send a big hi out to Greg Hilfman, who's been doing all the editing for all of these podcasts for all these many years. One of my best buddies and wonderful musician. My first recording of this came out in 1982 on Take Me With You. Back then, all we had was vinyl recordings. Terry Asher illustrated a most wonderful album jacket that has a picture of me photoshopped in, surrounded by a horde of illustrated animals and characters from the songs on the album. One of my favorite parts of this album jacket is a happy little chicken Terry drew, sitting up on top of the VW microbus we were gathered around. It's holding a freshly opened tin can that says P-E-A-S on it in big letters. Of course, Chickens for Peas. This song's been an inspiration for thousands of children over the years, children who want a peaceful world, but because they can't vote, no one listens to them. An alternative school out here in California actually learned this song, then signed up to perform it in the Doodah Parade in Pasadena. That's a wonderful parade that happens right around the same time as the actual Rose Bowl parade, which usually takes place on New Year's Day. The Doodah Parade has been around a long time, more than 35 years now. They invite all sorts of wacky and wonderful human beings to come and march the same parade route that the Rose Parade follows. This bunch of teachers and kids invited me to come along too. Of course, I said yes. We all dressed up in a wild assortment of different homemade and store-bought chicken costumes. We marched and sang and played all sorts of instruments, not very well, as we marched along the parade route singing Chickens for Peace. There were crowds of people who had lined the streets to watch the spectacle. Off we went, with a boombox blaring my song, with all of us singing along. What a blast. We were right behind the business briefcase marching drill team, I think that was their name, with men and women in matching gray suits, marching in military-type maneuvers and doing precision manipulations of their briefcases in nearly perfect synchrony, a delight to watch and follow, as were we, the Chickens for Peace, I might mention. I wrote this song to be fun and encourage independent, imaginative thinking and to aid parents and teachers in opening up communications with their children. The questions don't have to have right answers. We learn more while looking for solutions than we do when we're handed one. Younger children sing the songs and learn vocabulary, practice rhythms and cadences and movement, and begin to consider their own abilities and influence in the world. Older children build self-esteem and appreciate the humor and music that relates to their own experiences. They can practice and discuss communications and relationship skills. Adults who get most from these songs are those who participate in the silliness with their children. Here are some of the notes I added to the album. Peace and war and violence are things that we want to protect our children from having to go through or think much about. But lots of kids see things and even go through violent events in their life. And it's always helpful to have a safe adult around who isn't afraid to bring these issues up in ways that are manageable for different aged kids to absorb and consider. Why bring it up at all with children, you might ask? And I would answer, it's kind of like when some local authorities started printing milk cartons with the pictures of abducted children in the hope of locating them. Kids all over the area would see these children and ask, "Who is that, Mommy?" But most parents, who didn't want their children to be terrified about being abducted, didn't know what to say about these children on the cartons. So they would change the subject or say, "Never mind, it's not important, finish your milk." And research has shown that when we don't explain what's going on to children, it can create much more anxiety for them. And it's not easy to explain difficult things to children in ways that they can understand. But it is possible to be playful with kids about serious subjects. As parents, we don't usually get trained in how to do this, so I think of it like dipping our toe in the water before we go swimming to see if we actually want to get in. With safe adults around, we can take time to feel more comfortable with exploring edgy subjects, and then, bit by bit, we can become more familiar with the new and sometimes scary ideas. That's a lot better than just jumping into the deep end of the pool, right? So that's how we use this song. It's playful and a bit silly. And through that fun lens, we can look at serious matters like what does it mean to have courage or to stand up for things that we think are important, things like peace. By interacting with kids and pretending to be chickens and by being silly and singing and talking with them, they know we can be trusted and they feel safe enough to talk to us about their scary stuff too. Okay, let's curl up our arms, put our hands under our armpits, then our elbows, stick our elbows out like wings right, stand up straight and tall, hold up your beaks and join in. Come on, let's march around the room, cluck at the top of your lungs, and then we can talk about anything we might want to discuss with them. We can ask them questions and let them take the lead. Have you ever been called a chicken? What does that mean? They already know that we're not really a chicken, right? I mean, are we chickens if we refuse to fight or do something dangerous or mean to someone else? I love reframing the word chicken, which is most often used as a negative word about someone who doesn't want to do something scary. And our associates accuse us of being a chicken because we're being cautious. Being called a chicken is also kind of implies that we're acting like someone who only cares about ourselves, someone who's afraid to do things that others are doing, a coward. When people who won't participate in a group activity are called chicken because supposedly they're too nervous or too scared to join in, I don't think that they're afraid at all. If they were afraid that people wouldn't like them, wouldn't it be easier for them just to follow the crowd? I think not joining in with everyone else takes some courage. It seems to me that real-life chickens follow the flock. They don't have enough sense to know when something is dangerous. They're unaware that hanging out with a group that isn't concerned about the safety of all its members is not very smart. Adults and children often need to talk about serious issues, but we rarely find a safe, socially acceptable occasion to do so. And this song can be a catalyst to encourage further talks, explorations, and activities with kids and adults equally aware that we all learn from each other. So, thanks for clucking with us today, and I'll bet there must be a couple of your friends or family members who might benefit by picking up a few positive life skills from joining us. So please don't hoard this podcast all to yourself. Spread the word. I'm Peter Alsop. I'll see you next week with another song to chew. Bye for now.